nobody, you, Marsau, nobody said anything to me or her. Like, even when you, Mel, y'all had conversations, Mel didn't call you a name to your face. She didn't call you a trick. She didn't call you a hoe. She didn't say you interfered with her marriage. This girl called me all of those things.
As soon as people bring up black love on television, there are always a few couples who stand out. They're the ones people admire, the ones viewers believe can handle any storm. For a long time, at the very top of that list were LaTisha and Marsau Scott. To many fans, they looked like the perfect example of commitment and family. They had the big, beautiful house, the successful businesses, and a marriage that seemed strong. They stood side by side on TV, running their black-owned cigar lounge, raising their children, and showing the world what teamwork looked like. But lately, all of that has been falling apart.
What is public knowledge is that he got arrested.
It's a DUI this time, but it could have been worse.
I'm hanging out with some convicts.
Maurice was arrested and got out for the DUI. He was on social media with a bottle of liquor in his hand.
I want to know sincerely how you're feeling in those moments. I can't help what I don't know.
I don't really know if you can help me.
And it's not happening quietly. It's loud. It's messy. And now it's playing out in front of everyone. At first, Marsau came across as calm, collected, and steady. He carried himself like a businessman who always had the right words but never too many. He projected confidence. LaTisha, on the other hand, was seen as the devoted wife, the woman who stood by her husband no matter what, smiling even when the storms were heavy. But behind that smile, the truth was darker. She wasn't smiling because life was easy.
In a moment like this, I think that lesson learned.
Yes, but you can know something, but hearing it from somebody.
She was smiling because she was surviving. The whispers started small. Fans noticed tiny cracks. A missing wedding ring here. A distant look from LaTisha at events. Marsau absent from her social media posts. Then came a few shady Instagram comments, and people started to wonder. But things truly exploded when LaTisha received a direct message from a fan. And this wasn't just a troll or a random hater. This was someone genuinely concerned. The DM contained a screenshot evidence of Marsau speaking with another woman in a way that was far from innocent. It wasn't just small talk. It wasn't harmless.
Going to talk to him about something is going to be a wake-up call. I think it's a tough situation to even be suspected of a DUI.
It had a tone that felt too familiar, too flirty. For LaTisha, it was like the ground beneath her feet shifted. She confronted Marsau, but when he dismissed it as fake, something inside her changed. That was the spark. But here's what shocked people most: it wasn't Marsau's reaction. It was LaTisha's. She didn't scream. She didn't break down. She went silent. And it wasn't the silence of defeat, it was the silence of planning. Behind closed doors, LaTisha started moving carefully. Sources claim she called a lawyer, not to file for divorce right away, but to quietly begin setting financial and legal boundaries. She reportedly froze one of their business accounts tied to the cigar lounge, suspecting Marsau was spending company money on things that weren't related to business. While she was making those moves, Marsau was busy online, posting slick comments and throwing shade at what he called fake stories and disloyal women. Fans weren't fooled. They saw the gaslighting. They saw the manipulation. And for the first time in a long time, they began rallying behind LaTisha. But this wasn't just about one man cheating. It was bigger. Families got pulled in. People started choosing sides. Even cast members from the show were secretly gossiping, spreading screenshots and voice notes in private group chats like it was some kind of spy movie. And then came the twist no one expected. Miss Wanda, LaTisha's outspoken mother, had been doing her own investigation. She had been quietly gathering receipts, tired of watching her daughter suffer. When she finally revealed the screenshots and voice notes she had collected, LaTisha was blindsided. She hadn't asked her mom to dig, and instead of feeling relieved, she felt ambushed and betrayed. Suddenly, the walls closed in, and the marriage that looked perfect on TV was stripped bare. When the cameras stopped rolling, things only got worse. The polished image crumbled in front of everyone. But LaTisha didn't run to social media to vent. She didn't write long emotional posts or cry on camera. She chose a colder route. She packed up the kids, grabbed a few bags, and left. She rented an Airbnb across town and went completely silent. No calls, no texts, no updates. For once, Marsau had to sit in the discomfort of not knowing where she was or what she was planning. 4 days later, Marsau tried to fix things with his usual charm. But LaTisha didn't even open the door. She sent him a short, sharp text, "You always say you need time to think. Now it's my turn." That's when panic set in for Marsau. Not because he suddenly realized how much he missed her, but because he was losing control, the one thing he never thought would happen. LaTisha wasn't just reacting anymore. She was strategizing. Quietly, she hired a private investigator. Not even her mom knew. Not her friends, not the producers. She didn't want emotions, she wanted facts. And the PI delivered. Reports showed Marsau visiting a woman's house in Birmingham late at night, several nights in a row, always driving the same car, always at the same time. Now LaTisha had more than rumors. She had timestamps. She had proof. Meanwhile, Marsau's public image was collapsing. His Instagram posts turned strange and defensive. He wrote things like, "People love to play victim when they're really the villain, and loyalty doesn't need to be loud, it's real." Fans weren't buying it. The comment sections lit up like wildfire. One person wrote, "You gaslight better than you build, and that says everything." But Marsau didn't stop at cryptic posts. He tried to go for the jugular. He allegedly tried cutting LaTisha out of their business, removing her name from flyers, locking her out of company files, and even telling their accountant she had been misusing money. But when the accountant checked, the truth came out. LaTisha's books were clean. Marsau, on the other hand, had suspicious payments tied to the same Birmingham address from the PI's report. That was the breaking point. LaTisha finally decided she was done protecting the image. She reached out to a major black media outlet and sat down for a private meeting. Someone leaked a clip of her speaking, though the full footage hasn't been released. In the clip, LaTisha's voice was steady but heavy with pain. She said, "Silence is not strength anymore. It's hurting me. And I refuse to keep hurting in silence." That single line changed everything. The internet exploded. LaTisha Speaks started trending. Even Melody Holt, who has had her fair share of tension with LaTisha in the past, reposted the clip in support. For the first time in their marriage, LaTisha held the cards. And that's where things stand now. A couple who once looked unshakable is cracking in the spotlight. And the woman who people thought would always stay quiet has finally found her voice. Because in the end, this wasn't just a story about a man's betrayal. It became the story of a woman reclaiming her power, piece by piece. Marsau was no longer the man fans thought they knew. He had gone from being the calm, polished businessman to someone unraveling in public, and viewers were glued to every second of it. The drama felt less like a reality show and more like the final act of a high-stakes movie. But the shocking part? It wasn't scripted. It was real life falling apart right in front of millions. Then came the moment that made everything spiral even faster: a leaked voicemail. According to insiders, Marsau had left a heated message on LaTisha's phone after she refused to answer his calls. In that message, he reportedly snapped, reminding her, "Remember who made you? You want war? You got it." His words weren't just angry, they dripped with pride, control, and a kind of bitterness that left fans stunned. LaTisha's response was short but powerful. She didn't scream, argue, or even call him back. Instead, she posted a single black screen on her social media with one bold line: "A man who tries to control you after losing control was never in love. He was obsessed." That post hit like a mic drop. People instantly began sharing it across platforms, calling it one of the most powerful statements ever made on the show. In that moment, LaTisha stopped being just a wife trapped in a toxic marriage. She became a voice for every woman who had ever felt silenced. She became a symbol of choosing herself over chaos. But the story didn't end there. Just when viewers were starting to cheer for her strength and her independence, Marsau made another move and it changed everything. Instead of stepping back and taking responsibility, Marsau went on the attack. With his image crumbling in public, he demanded control. He told producers he wanted editing rights to the show, insisting that the way he was being portrayed was unfair. He threatened to quit the next season if they didn't give him what he wanted. To him, it wasn't about the truth, it was about rewriting the story to protect his ego. But fans weren't buying it. They had already seen enough: the smirks, the shady comments, the controlling behavior. The same man who once built his reputation on being the strong, confident leader was now seen throwing tantrums because he had lost his grip. Even Carlos King, the producer himself, had to step in to calm things down. According to reports, he arranged a private Zoom meeting with both Marsau and LaTisha, hoping to keep the chaos from spilling too far onto the internet. But Marsau wasn't interested in peace. He wanted revenge. During the call, he accused LaTisha of destroying their family's reputation. He even threatened to sue if the producers aired certain scenes. And that's when LaTisha delivered the line that silenced everyone: "You don't own the truth, Marsau." Those 6 words shifted everything. Soon after, legal papers were filed, not for divorce just yet, but for a legal separation. This wasn't just about emotions anymore. It was about protection. The documents laid out rules for shared property, custody schedules, and in one shocking twist, a clause that required Marsau to undergo a full psychological evaluation before he could have joint custody of the kids. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. What started as a reality show storyline had turned into real court battles, lawyers, and official paperwork. This wasn't TV anymore. This was war. Behind the cameras, the stress began to eat away at every corner of Marsau's life. His reputation in the business world began to sink. Invitations to events dried up, partnerships grew distant, and whispers spread through Huntsville's close-knit business community. Even his prized Black Cigar Lounge felt the impact. People were quietly choosing sides, and more began to stand behind LaTisha, especially after what she did next. At a women's empowerment conference, LaTisha walked onto the stage dressed in all white, confident, radiant, and completely on her own. No husband by her side. Just her truth. Her speech was raw, emotional, and fearless. Without saying Marsau's name once, she exposed the pain of being treated like an accessory to someone else's ego. "You can't build a future with someone who only sees you as an extension of their pride," she said. That clip spread like wildfire. Within hours, it was everywhere. Her words resonated deeply, not just with fans of the show but with women across the country. Invitations for speaking engagements poured in. Brands reached out. Organizations wanted her voice. LaTisha had officially stepped into her own spotlight, and it was brighter than anything she had ever shared with Marsau. LaTisha wasn't trying to win a battle anymore. She had already won the war by freeing herself. And that, more than anything Marsau could ever say or do, was the real plot twist nobody saw coming.